came, in fact, to our territory. Not only, it has hit our armed forces, the personnel, but civilians have also got injured, and possibly this is the artillery fire that Colonel Sofia Qureshi was talking about, that our army jawans are injured. We have been discussing about air defense, and we are talking about the air defense of Indian Army and Indian Air Force. And on that note, I'll try to show you the visuals. Shivani, I'm at Jammu Airport, and this is the place from where this all got initiated yesterday. At around 8 p.m., this is the place. Rajesh ji will show you. This is the airport. At 8 p.m. yesterday, we saw that, several drones were sent to the airport. And soon after that, the armed forces, specifically the Indian Air Force, that is basically, taking care of the security of this particular, Air Force, particular airport at this point in time, came into action. In fact, CRPF and, Jammu Kashmir Police and Indian Army are also there, and they reacted. AD guns were there. They started firing using AD guns and thwarted all those attempts. So, all of, when we talk about these 24 cities which were targeted, different military infrastructure and the locations. So, none of these attacks were successful, but yes, their targets were predefined, and they knew that where we have our military installation. Of course, it's an age where everything is available on the internet. But then too, at this point in time, agencies are anticipating that they will come back because of the fact that, maximum drones were without explosives, and possibly they were trying to check our capabilities. Indian Armed Forces are ready, and their operational readiness is at all-time high. Shivani.
Yes, absolutely. Not just that, not just the Indian Army or the operational readiness at the LOC or the IB, even inside the country, as far as internal preparedness is concerned, that is also at an all-time high, possibly for the first time since 1971. We will get you those details also in just a bit, but Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow, ORF, is also joining me. Sushant, laughable, farcical, duplicity, and all of those words used by the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, to describe Pakistan's attempt at denying that they attempted anything.
Yeah, Shivani, they're quite shameless about it, and they've done it throughout their existence. This is a standard operating procedure on the Pakistani side. This is how they operate. So there's nothing new in that, I think. Um, it was quite visible what they were trying to do last night. And for them to, at that point of time, deny that we are not doing anything across the border was possible. And the night before also, they had tried it all along the length and breadth of the border, and still they denied it the next day that we haven't done anything. One thing which is not clear, Shivani, I wish your correspondent, if he's still online, can address that. From what I heard in the press conference, it isn't quite clear whether the casualties of the soldiers was in the shelling or it was in the drone attacks that have taken place.
From what?
Number one.
Yes, go ahead. I'll try and get Akash back, but go ahead.
Yeah, and Akash says that people were injured, soldiers were injured. But from what the word I heard was hatahat, which means killed. So I wonder if there's some clarification we can get.
Wait a second. Let me just bring Akash. He's with me. Akash, can you clarify on that front? I believe you had talked about injuries as far as the Indian Army and the BSF is concerned. Do we know more? Are there any fatalities?
So I was talking about injuries only, and these injuries are because of the artillery fire that we have at the LOC and in fact, at the international border yesterday. Because as far as these drone attacks are concerned, so we have been given to understand that none of these was successful. Yes, Colonel Sofia was mentioning about Bhatinda military station, but even in the press conference was not made very clear whether we had any sort of injury there at Bhatinda military station, Shivani.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Akash. Sushant, so you got your clarification there. No casualties on the Indian Army or BSF front, but yes, there are injuries at least across the LOC. We've seen the kind of heavy artillery that Pakistan has been using, not just yesterday, but for a couple of days now, in response to Operation Sandur. Major Malik Jolly, defense expert, is also joining us. Major, how do you look at the fact that India is not revealing too much officially about what our response was?
So it is a very strong move. That is, I mean, given the overall strategy of how you conduct a war, that is how you do it. We are The thing is, Pakistan has a little habit of, chest thumping. They get a little gorilla-ish once these things start, and they start to announce everything we have done. Even if 10% of that is true, but they go ahead and start declaring everywhere, start making false claims. That is their, that is the backbone of their propaganda to keep everybody confident. Whereas they also know on ground they are suffering badly. India, on the other hand, acts a little mature in that manner that there is no point revealing armed forces when they get into conflict. Secrecies and surprise, those are one of the biggest assets that we have. If we start disclosing and start getting into that chest thumping, unnecessary jingoistic manner, we'll get into a very immature stance. So it is good that these press conferences are very mature, they are very professional. They are there to give sense to the citizens of the nation that this is the overall of what has happened. Rest everything is under control. What you should know is we have situation under control. Majority of drones were shot down. There have been hardly any injuries as Pakistan had expected, and I think that is how it should be done. We need not get into the mechanics and the semantics of basics at who is firing where, what is doing that. That is how a mature, authoritative armed force acts, actually.
Right.
So, job well done, actually.
MJ Vinod is also joining us, Group Captain MJ Vinod. How do you look at the fact that India came out with not a lot of details otherwise from what was already in public domain, but they did make one detail very clear, that a lot of these drones that Pakistan used were Turkish made. Significant, you think?
And absolutely. In fact, yesterday, I think in the morning with the other three panelists of yours, that is Rahul, Anand, and Zaka, we on your very channel showed cargo aeroplane coming from Turkey to
Yes.
Karachi and the other areas, where I had raised this concern. I'm sure a lot of imported drones were flown in directly from Turkey. Be that as it may, I am slightly trying to read in between the lines of what being shown on the screen, which is about this Flynas aeroplane coming from Dammam to Lahore. Why they have specifically shown this or any other civilian movement during the hotspot condition could be that this Flynas came very close to being taken out, is my understanding. And it is imperative that, companies like Flynas or any other foreign operators flying into this hot zone when air war is going on. At that time, you can become the collateral damage is the information that is being put out to the world. So I think the air carriers will take a note of it and not fly into a hot war condition where you could be, or highly possible, you may be misidentified, not only by us, maybe by Pakistan themselves, and they'll shoot them down and blame it on us. But Shivani, about this briefing, Manik and I are good friends, but I have a slight bit of disagreement in this. I'm not saying don't chest thump, but I am saying that you reveal more than what you did to the world as well, and to the public of India, because they want to listen to things that we have done and done successfully. For example, we completely decimated the air defense of Lahore, completely decimated the air defense of Sialkot. That should have been brought out loud and clear. Today, with no air defense cover, and with on Sialkot or Lahore, and our forces absolutely ready. Boots on ground is something that is a very high possibility. We are restraining from doing it. I don't know why. I think, the high street, I've been saying this for a while, outskirts of Lahore is where we should be to get Munir on the table.
Okay.
Be that as it may, we should say that we have that option available on the table to put some fear of God into this man called Munir and his country called Pakistan.
No, I get your point. I'm going to come back to all of you in just a bit. We're also awaiting one of our other guests to join us. What is it that India is doing, can do? Why is it that it's not revealing much of its strategy? All of that will be debated in just a bit. But remember, India has come out strongly, not just naming and shaming Pakistan for its escalatory action along the entire western border last night, but it is also called farcical, their attempts to wash their hands off it. Pakistan actually tried to deny any drone and missile attack on their part. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that it's preposterous and desperate from Pakistan to allege that India targeted its own cities. It is a deranged fantasy that only Pakistan can come up with, is how he summed it up. Remember, Pakistan fired up to 500 drones and missiles, but Indian forces not only thwarted all of them, have also showed great restraint in its conduct, is also what this briefing said. It focused on restraint in its conduct. Across the LOC, Pakistan also targeted civilian areas with heavy artillery and even damaged a Gurdwara and Christian convent school. Let me also break down some of the other top developments that we're tracking as far as this entire escalation is concerned. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh earlier today chaired a high-level meeting to review the security situation along the border and operational preparedness of the Indian Armed Forces with CDS and the three armed services chief. Home Minister Amit Shah met DG BSF, DG CISF and MHA officials and other senior officials of the ministry to review border situation and airport security arrangements. Union Health Minister JP Nadda chaired a high-level meeting to review emergency health systems preparedness with senior officials. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar spoke to UK Foreign Secretary today. The discussion centered around countering terrorism, and he told his counterpart that there must be zero tolerance. Pakistan continues to breach ceasefire. 2 more civilians have been killed in this firing. Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha visited Uri, in fact, earlier and met the injured. On another note, BCCI has suspended the IPL for 1 week with immediate effect. They say nothing above the country right now. Pakistan launched as many as 400 drones to target 36 locations. Pakistan used Turkish drones to attack and used civil airlines as shield, as mentioned just now. Border Security Force foiled a major infiltration attempt along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir, Samba, killing 7 terrorists affiliated with the Jaish-e-Mohammed. Pakistan Defence Minister made a laughable comment earlier today saying Pakistan did not shoot down Indian drones fired in retaliation because they didn't want to reveal their own locations. And India is set to present its case before the International Monetary Fund, urging the body to review the financial aid extended to Pakistan. Pakistan attempted to escalate these tensions by targeting as many as 36 locations, but all of those attempts were negated. Let's take a quick check of where all of these actions were taken. All of them neutralized. There's Jammu, Srinagar, Rajouri, Uri, Avantipura, Udhampur, Satwar, Pathankot, Jalandhar. On the other side, there's also Arispura, Arnia and Akhnur, until as far back as down low as Jaisalmer. This attempt was done, but of course the big news is that not any of them, of the 500 so drones and missiles fired by Pakistan, managed to inflict any damage on the Indian side. Now the conflict between India and Pakistan is only escalating, but what makes this conflict different? Let's try and break this down. Now both nations are heavily utilizing sophisticated drone systems. This isn't the war of the old times. Reports of 125 jets clash is one of the largest dogfights recorded in recent history. Reports indicate massive use of electronic warfare, including GPS jamming, disrupting of navigation and communication systems. All of this is different from what earlier wars looked like, certainly the ones that India was part of. A significant escalation is technological warfare. Both nations are reportedly engaging in cyber attacks, targeting critical infrastructure as well. Unprecedented use of water as a strategic weapon by India via the Indus Water Treaty this time. Parallel information war that is being fought on social media as well. And we saw a lot of that last night, for example, when all of this was going on. What is also going on simultaneously is a lot of public and civil prep. I want to emphasize on that because it's going to come to civilians to stand up and be counted if the time comes. Particularly on the medical front, lots of preparations being done. Leaves of health workers across all states and UTs have been cancelled. Drug makers and hospitals have been told to prepare for medical emergencies. AIIMS in Delhi has said that they have held a mass casualty management mock drill a few days ago. Home Ministry has also asked for stricter measures for airport security. It was clear last night that airports were a major point of attack for Pakistan. And MHA has also asked all state chief secretaries to make emergency procurements under available rules, which means India does not want to leave any stone unturned as far as this fight and preparedness for it is concerned. With that, we also ask the question that we're asking today. With Pakistan's repeated strikes, is it really fighting a losing battle? And if so, why is it doing so?
पाकिस्तानी सेना ने नियंत्रण रेखा पर भारी कैलिबर वाले हथियारों से गोलीबारी भी की। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा और नियंत्रण रेखा पर लेह से लेकर सरक्रीक तक 36 स्थानों पर 300 से 400 लगभग ड्रोनों का इस्तेमाल घुसपैठ का प्रयास करने के लिए किया गया। भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों ने काइनेटिक व नॉन काइनेटिक साधनों का उपयोग करके इनमें से कई ड्रोन्स को मार गिराया।
Pakistan made the preposterous and outrageous claim that it was the Indian armed forces and the Indian Air Force that was targeting cities like Amritsar and trying to put the blame on Pakistan. This is nothing but a desperate attempt by Pakistan to disown its acts of aggression, but it is also true to type in its effort to deceive and mislead the world. It will not succeed.
Pakistan will not succeed. That's the message really written loud and clear for it. The writing's on the wall, but somehow Pakistan is not getting that message. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, former Adjutant General and former GOC 14 Corps of the Indian Army, is also joining us. The rest of our guests also continue to be with us. Why is Pakistan going down this road? Lieutenant General, that's my first question. What do you think is going on?
Thank you for inviting me. Unfortunately, I can't see the screen. So I do not know what visuals you are showing, so I am without that.
Okay, now, we'll try and fix that for you, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Naturally, what Pakistan has tried out in yesterday night, it's important to know that they have gone right up to Leh, which is not easy. To go to Leh, one has to go from Baltistan, maybe taking off from Skardu, which is a very long distance off. So the effort required to go from Leh to Leh is immense. And, Sir Creek is also not an easy phenomena. So I would say that, they have engaged the entire border since they found out that day before yesterday that the airfields which they tried day before yesterday, 15 of them were not approachable for various reasons because of the umbrella of air defense around the airfields. When you start counting Avantipura to Bhuj, they were only trying the airfields day for yesterday night. Yesterday night, they went beyond the airfields because the success rate was poor. They spread across to military cantonments. And when you go to military cantonments and other places, the kind of AD cover which is available at an airfield is not available. For example, at places like Leh, or places like Udhampur and all that, the S-400s are actually scanty. Even the other ones, Akash Tir or Spider and all, are not available. Most of the other locations will have AK guns, which are the Zeus or L-70s being fired. So there is possibility of targeting military locations other than the airfields is tremendously more than there is a possibility of hitting the airfields, because airfields are protected in any way. So it is obvious that they tried these 300-400 drones across into these cantonments, like Bathinda. The Bisiana is a little far away, but Bathinda is one of these places, and many others. I think their lack of success, and I'm not very sure if all 400, if they were trying, all 400 were down by us, or some of them got through, because it's actually well nigh impossible to hold on to all 400. Even the Israelis are not able to do so. So exact information, there's still fog of war. Exact information is not coming across as to what when you see.
Can I just come in, sir? Can I just come in? We're also learning that most of them were dummies.
But decoy drones is part and parcel of the game that we play. When we throw drones, a swarm of drones, there are a large number of decoys that are sent, so that there is ammunition being wasted, including missiles if they're using it to down decoy drones, and that kind of ammunition get wasted. So sending decoy drones is part and parcel of the military operation being carried out. how many decoys, this is all part of it. So I don't think you could carry this issue further in discussion as to why decoys were used and why decoys were not used. This is part of the game. There is also one issue I wish to raise is that how much of information can the adversary, and I'm sure the group captain can answer it better, how much of information can the adversary glean out of a drone attack being sent by us? Can he pick up the frequencies, the channel, the direction from where it is coming, where it is being launched? So all that information, if it gleans out of our attacks, it becomes easier for him for next night to know, okay, the attacks are coming up, and that's the reason why we are not actually disclosing. The social media says we went to Attok or we went to many other places which Pakistani social media is showing. But all this is not being told, because once you say, you make a commitment officially that we attacked a particular place, you can say which side it is coming from, which frequency it uses, how can it be downed. So, the keeping quiet is a good idea. And I'll add a last issue.
Yes.
While we have spoken that Lahore was hit, and that S300 or whatever they called it, HQ9, which was destroyed, and also Sialkot. But suffice it to say, any good nation will have reserves available or have the capacity to sidestep some of these ones from less threatened airfields across to these areas. So when we go to Lahore again or Sialkot again, we must not deem it that it is vacant and we can try it out there. Okay. Because by now, important places like Lahore would not be left as a void and it will be filled in. So, this is part of the game, Zife. And I end by saying that we didn't hear about the famous Turkish drone, which was used in Ukrainian war. See, after 2 months of Ukrainian war, the Turkish drones became defunct. They were non-useful because the Russians were able to find the measure to drop these Turkish drones. So Turkish drones were not used after, say, May, June of the starting of the war. Okay. So how do we react to Turkish drones is also an issue that we need to be saying.
Can I take your query to Group Captain Vinod, who's with us? It's interesting that Lieutenant General mentioned this, because earlier we had a comment from Khwaja Asif also that we didn't stop their drones till they were too close to us, so that we don't give out our locations. I did speak to experts earlier in the afternoon as well, and they said there is no such technical issue here. So do you want to clarify on that front, and also what Lieutenant General was saying, that our capabilities or locations also being scouted by them with these attacks that they tried to attempt last night? No damage really? Was it more a scouting mission?
Shivani, a couple of things. The briefing also mentioned a drone called Asisgat Songer drone from Turkey, and that is the one which I put behind me. Okay. Like General covered, this particular drone uses open frequency like 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz, which of course uses the frequency hopping technique, but it is easily A, jammable, B, we can bring them down using soft kill, and which was also mentioned. Colonel Qureshi mentioned that, if you remember. So if you put high power jammers, I mean, for the sake of viewers, I'm saying this. When you put high power jammers, and when 10 or 20 or 50, 30 or 100 drones of these come, they lose contact with the controller. And so there are some drones which requires the back and forth communication for it to operate. Songer is one of them. The drones that we send, Harop or any other advanced drones which is going into Pakistan, are electronically silent. You cannot jam them because they have onboard intelligence. For example, Harop was launched. It's called a loitering munition, and rightfully a loitering munition. It goes without a target. Can you believe it? It does not have a target. It goes without a target, and whenever the target pops up, it checks with its library and goes and hits. So there is difference in the way we conduct drone warfare currently. Whether we'll go down this route or not, I really don't know. But currently, our drone warfare is different from the drone warfare that they are doing. We also intercepted some Mavic, DJI Mavic off-the-shelf drones also being launched by them using some makeshift hook in which they put some Pow Giloka bomb. So these are things I thought in this press briefing we could have exposed, because we have captured them, and it is officially being shown on the social media and otherwise. So
Okay.
I'm not saying chest thumping, but I'm saying
So
feel
no,
good
no, once
factor
again,
would have been good.
Group Captain Vinod, just to simplify this for the layperson, I think what Lieutenant General said is a key question to ask. What did Pakistan achieve by throwing so many drones at us when not one of them has even exploded? Some of them have fell and not exploded. There's also visuals of a Chinese missile which didn't found in full. My question was,
Is what did not come out in the press briefing very loud and clear, but it did, is that the non-kinetic means had much larger effect in bringing them down than the kinetic means, because kinetic means are very, very limited. The zoo guns that General talked about and other guns that the General talked about are very limited and does not have the capability to bring down so many. Any professional army, they would have something called an ELINT or electronic intelligence by now. They would have the details.
okay.
That is a given. You cannot, put put a boxing gloves and put the gloves in your pocket and fight. When the gloves come out, you will know what the gloves is made of. Over to you, Shivani.
Yes, absolutely. All right. I also want to bring in Ashok Malik, a partner of the Asia Group and chair of the India practice, who's also joining us. You know, we're trying to understand exactly where this goes. Why is Pakistan down this road? This is a losing battle for it, but why is it on this path? But first, I want an overview from you. Just who are those countries who can impress upon Pakistan? Some statements have been made in this regard, but who are those countries that can impress upon Pakistan effectively to not go down that path, not escalate with India?
Powers that could influence Islamabad and Rawalpindi not to escalate, because it is entirely in their interest to escalate. If they escalate, we will be forced to escalate.
Yes.
I imagine countries that are friends of India and also have the better interest of Pakistan in mind. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, which is a friend of India and has been an old patron of Pakistan. Countries such as the US, which still counts for a lot in Pakistan. I don't know what the Chinese will be saying. I don't think the Chinese want to get involved directly, to be honest, in a conflict with India. They are quite happy to see Pakistan do a bit, but not beyond a certain point. But more than other countries, I think good sense has to prevail within Pakistan itself. Because in the end, it's Pakistan's organic decision that what steps do you want to take and what will be the outcome of those steps for your own country? That is a question Pakistan has to ask itself. No other country can ask that question on behalf of Pakistan.
Right. Sushant, coming to you as well. How far do you think Pakistan is willing to go? It has shown that in the aftermath of in Operation Sindoor, it has attempted twice at least to target directly our military installations. They have not shied away from that. Denial is a separate issue. How far do you think they're willing to go?
Shivani, I think the question to be asked is how far is India willing to go? And quite honestly, I think things are de-escalating. We've decided, if I make sense of the press briefing today correctly, then I think it is very clear that we've said, okay, fine, they hit 36 places, 500 drones, and we attacked some 4 places and we hit 1, and that's it. We haven't escalated beyond that. So I think this whole thing is winding down. That's my impression, and I'm afraid I don't agree with people who say that we should keep quiet, we should keep everything under our chest, hide it behind some kind of a cloak and dagger stuff. there is a psychological degradation of the enemy that you have to do. You do not have to give him any kind of a face saver. You have to rub his bloody nose in the dust. Uh, and if you're not going to be able to do it, then that fellow, given his DNA, given his mental makeup, given the kind of shamelessness he represents, and the kind of brazenness he exudes, uh, he is going to claim some kind of victory. And you have to deny him that. And my question is, have we done it? Uh, we keep talking about, we are a very professional military. We have shown a lot of restraint. Why have we shown restraint? Please tell me. If they are shelling my civilians in Poonch and in other parts of Jammu and Kashmir, what is stopping me from targeting their civilians and flattening them out? I enjoy the advantage of topography. I have my weapon systems in place. I have, in virtually 90% of the LOC, I have the advantage. Why am I not flattening them out? Why am I not making them scream in pain?
I don't
That's
know.
a question, a legitimate question to ask. For somebody to say to me, no, but we are Gandhian followers of Gandhi, so we cannot do this. We will only fight in a very chivalrous manner. I am all for chivalry, but I'm not for chivalry with barbarians.
Maybe. I'm just hazarding a guess. I'll allow our other guests to take on that question because, I am one of those people who tweeted yesterday that I don't understand Indian restraint sometimes. And maybe this is one of those situations. But Major Jolly, you want to weigh in on this? What are we waiting for?
Yeah, no, see, we are not waiting for. The thing is, there is a lot of data that we don't know. I mean, including you, Mr. Sareen, me, and everybody here, we depend on the government information to come. And maybe we have flattened out some areas. Maybe our artillery response has been tremendous. Maybe there's a reason they are backing off. Maybe we have downed all their drones. But there's also, no, that is just your opinion.
Where is the sign,
we don't know.
Jolly, where is the sign they are backing off? Please tell me, where is the sign that they are backing off? Last night, if our briefing is correct,
Okay. Yeah.
the spokespersons of the armed forces in the Foreign Office have told us that they attacked in 36 places from Leh to Sir Creek. They've attacked in 36 places and over 400 to 500 drones were fired, whatever the kind of drones were. How are they backing off?
Did you hear I said maybe? I said we all are speculating, right? We're just a thought exercise right now. What I'm trying to say is
that if somebody is firing 400 drones, then the word maybe becomes redundant, sir.
No, I agree with you, but there's let's say the basic difference between your and mine thinking would be I come from a hardcore intelligence background. I'm never happy with information sharing. You are an analyst and a intellectual of this subject. So your thinking might differ from me, but that's all right. Another reason I would say we are not doing away with a lot of information is we are still in the operation. Ops Sindoor is still going on. Whether we are on defensive, whether we are on offensive, whether we have held our ground, whether we are attacking, it does not matter. We are in middle of it. Any bit of information that is given out, let's say we took down your drone so and so by so. A certain kind of drone is taken down only by a certain kind of technology. A certain response is given by only a certain kind of weapon. A certain aircraft is countered by certain jammers or certain radars and certain aircraft and missiles. Every time we put out something in public, it's an indication of our capability. And fine, let's take it for granted they know a lot. But why should we give out? It's just a way in which wars are fought. You should have an absolute control on information that you give. We are not, and at least till the time our operation is over. We are in the middle of operation. Okay. There is no sense of giving out data at this point.
Okay. That's a fair point. But Lieutenant General, yes, Sushant, yes, go ahead.
Look, I am not saying give operational data.
Yes,
I am not saying operational information. I am saying at least you say where all you have hit them.
Yes, I think I get your point. I was coming exactly to that nobody wants operational details or capability details. But what is holding us back, either from acting back or from detailing that action? Is it that we still want to give Lieutenant General Pakistan the opportunity to cool down, an off-ramp as it is technically called? We are building pressure internationally, we are building pressure through the IMF, World Bank, etc. Or what is it that you think is going on?
Look, I take the word of Sushant, who's been a good friend from long years. The fact is, it's an issue of credibility of a country. if we do not target the way we need to target the adversary, whether it is in response or it is proactive, we will lose credibility, we will lose the issue of deterrence. We have to, finally, it is not about retribution alone. It's also a question of creating some strategic deterrence. So I know in the 30 years of firing that we have done on the line of control, we have extensive data, and we would have been targeting places that you can't imagine. There are townships in Lipa Valley, townships on NH1 Alpha, larger villages. They do as much of tilling and agriculture along the line of control as we do. So to say that we are not targeting them, I think that will be impossible. You can't even hit a post on the opposite side without having some villages across not being hit. So, let's leave the villages alone. If they're hitting Punch and they're hitting Rajouri and they're hitting Bimber, be rest assured we must be doing similar. I have retired long ago, but we must be doing similar things. We have been doing similar things earlier when when the firing was on in 90s and 2000. So you rest assured that there is I won't say a quid pro quo, but there will be more forceful fire that we do, and we have done major work on this issue. So let's leave that the line of actual
but
control.
why are we not announcing it?
Absolutely.
I mean, if they are not announcing, see, you take my word for it, they are doing it. But if they are not announcing it, does it hurt you? I mean, I would say
no, I think that is centrally what Sushant is getting at, right? The mental degradation of the opponent.
Allow me.
Yeah.
There is a small township in the Neelam Valley. We are hitting that township. There are school buses go from there for people or across T2R. School buses, they line up in the morning to take children across there. Why should, if I'm hitting it, I don't know, but if I'm hitting it, why should I say that I'm hitting school buses? Yeah. Why do you want to know? I wouldn't like to say, yeah, we are doing this. We have earlier got larger number of their villages vacated when the firing was on our own self, without nation coming to know.
Right.
But we did that. Now it hurts them as much as they do it.
Okay. No, I think we meant more. Yes, sir.
The point I want to make is that if we are hitting the plains area, now you're talking about the area of the IB sector.
Yes, yes.
Now, the IB sector. Now, if you see the social media, if Karachi is hit, then there is Karachi's things are available on the social media. Now you can follow it. So you might as well say, yes, we hit Karachi, we hit Attock, we hit Gujranwala, we hit Sargodha. Many of these things are available, and we can say so that the following were targeted. I don't think we should hesitate in saying it. It will elevate the morale of our nation, saying that we did. When we first day announced that we hit Bahawalpur and we hit Muridke. Muridke is new for the nation. Muridke is a new name. Muridke is a name that we have been rattling out from last 30 years. Every day in and day out in all war games, Muridke used to come up. So, we rest assured these names are not new to us, and the names are not the places. I mean, I'm sure they are being targeted. We can say so. We can say Muridke and Bahawalpur. We can also say we hit cantonments of Gujranwala, Sargodha, Shekhupura, Raiwind. I mean, we can name all these ones if we are targeting it.
Okay,
so, I mean,
I understand. Differing views, but I think everybody has the same end goal in mind. We're just breaking on our screens that the PSL, which was going on, which is going on in Pakistan, is expected to be shifted, or Pakistan wants to shift it. Yesterday, one of their stadiums actually got hit. Those visuals we certainly got, but that was the afternoon action. From last night, we don't really have much of what India has managed, but what we're getting to know now is that the UAE Cricket Board will likely not approve Pakistan Cricket Board's request to hold the PSL in UAE, because that was the venue that was being considered. And one source is telling us that security concerns could potentially emanating from the rising tension between India and Pakistan could be the reason why they don't want to do this. And this brings me to the second part of my discussion today. The Indian government has certainly come out and named Turkish drones. You've got other countries that are standing with Pakistan despite knowing what Pakistan is up to and what it generally does against India. Has time come for us now to also tell other countries, and Sushant, you can come in on this, that if you do business with Pakistan, you don't do business with us?
Shivani, I've been of that view for many, many years now. And I believe that, if India has some economic heft, then we must start learning to use how this economic heft has to be deployed in the, to penalize or take punitive action against enemy countries. There was a time, not very long back, I believe under the Modi government, if I'm not mistaken, where there was some flirtation with the idea of imposing sanctions
Yes.
on companies doing business, for example, in POK. And I remember at that point of time, there were a few South Koreans, including a couple of Japanese companies, which were bidding for some contracts in POK, who asked me, how will this play out? Will India actually follow through? And at that point of time, I thought that the government of India will actually operationalize this, but they didn't. But you can be rest assured that many of those companies would never venture into POK or even for that matter Pakistan if India was to have some kind of a coherent policy
Yes.
to close itself to business to these kind of companies. Because after all, what are they going to get from the Pakistani market? Indian market is far more lucrative, far more beneficial for them. And I think this is one particular leverage we can use. There are many others that we can explore, we can deploy. And I think, look, you have an inveterate enemy. You've had it for the last 80 years. Unless we have any kind of rose-tinted lenses from which we view this country, I think we should wake up to the fact that we cannot ever live in peace with these fellows, right? It, they are genetically, it's not possible. It's just not going to be possible. Okay. Now you want to delude yourself, by all means. You want to go to Anarkali Bazaar for that 10 rupee damn thing which somebody gives to you free, be my guest. You want to have a free rickshaw ride because some low life in Pakistan is saying, okay, you've come from India, you are my brother, I'll give you a free rickshaw ride, and you want to make your policy on that basis, be my guest. But that's not going to get you peace with these fellows.
Okay.
You will only get peace with them if you hold the big danda over them.
Can I take...
And that danda we have not forged as yet of the kind we need.
Let me take that economic question to Ashok Malik also, because, some experts may say that all of this funding, keeps going to Pakistan. It's too big a country or too dangerous a country to fail because of its nuclear capabilities. We know of some pressure that India is trying to build on the IMF, for example, to reconsider its loan to Pakistan. Do you think it's finally time that the international community should come on the same page on this?
See, there are two things here. One, I think Pakistan's utility to the West, to America, for instance, has declined. It has not fallen to absolute zero, but it has declined since the American troops withdrew from Afghanistan in, 2021, 22, 21 and 22, when they withdrew from Afghanistan. And you're seeing that in the American response to Pakistan this time. Yes, Pakistan is a very strategically important geography, connecting South Asia and Central Asia. Yes, it has nuclear weapons, which gives us a certain blackmailing capacity. But there is a limit to how far that can take you. And it's a country that has continuously placed itself in the hands of one superpower or the other, without caring for its own people and its own development.
Yes.
So, whatever assistance it gets, the question is, how does it use that assistance? Does it use it for its own people, or does it use it for its generals and their lifestyles? That's a question that Pakistan has never been able to answer honestly. And in terms of the economic impact, the economic steps we can take on Pakistan, today the Indian economy is much larger. It has business and trade linkages with many major economies in the region, in the broader Asian region, as well as in the West. It also has. It's also an important investment and business destination for big companies, big banks, and financial institutions. In times to come, I'm sure we can use this to in our own way, impose sanctions against not all of Pakistan, but against certain entities in Pakistan that are clearly linked to perhaps the army, because the army is a big business. It's almost a business house in Pakistan. It controls banks, factories, So we can impose sanctions on our own as India and attempt to get those companies and institutions that do business in India to, in effect, choose.
Yeah.
So there are steps we can take. There is the FATF that can be approached again. We approached it very effectively after 2008, after the Mumbai attacks. So there are economic steps we can take, and I'm sure the IMF meeting will also see a lot of argument.
Yes, absolutely. I've got only a minute left. I'll give 30 seconds each to Manik Jolly. Yes, Lieutenant General, you want to come in, sir? I have limited time, 30 seconds to you.
So Steve Witkoff's son, Zachary Witkoff, was in Islamabad last week as heading of a corporation on crypto, and he signed an agreement with the Pakistanis, including met the Prime Minister, he met the Chief of the Army, and they signed a major deal. His corporation is also supported by President Trump, and this was signed with a great fanfare. Large number of MOUs. They will develop the entire crypto kind of systemic for Pakistan over a period of time. This is a time when we are actually preparing ourselves for the way we went across this 27th or 28th of April. So the fact of the matter is that there are other deals being happening behind the back. While we may be doing many things, the United States is doing separate deals across with Pakistan.
Yeah.
I want to add a point here.
No, absolutely. It is a challenge, certainly, of how to isolate Pakistan economically. Major Jolly, we've seen some steps that India has taken which were never taken earlier. Like, for example, putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. And PM has been very categorical that this water is going to be used for us. Pakistan
Exactly.
be damned. So do you think finally, mentally, we are prepared to take more economic sanctions for those who deal with Pakistan also?
Yeah, most definitely. I would agree on Mr. Sareen and Mr. Malik what he said. And the day when this started and IWT was, announced by the PM, that day I took a call that this is siege warfare. You're trying to bring a nation down. While everybody loves a little, that Royal Rumble cage in the match WWE type fight and armies fighting, but this is going to be a long drawn thing. You are trying to break down a nation. Suspending water was a brilliant move. Then, as everybody is suggesting and agreeing, economic sanctions should be is a great move. You should just clearly say either you choose us
or you choose
them. And the
absolutely
economic might we have, we can actually pull it off. So go ahead and break them down from every possible problem.
I've run out of time on that note, but I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Time to go for the kill, and I don't mean literal kill, but certainly an economic kill, because that seems to be the goal that India has envisaged to break down Pakistan's capabilities. Time for me to take your leave. Thanks a lot for watching Plain Speak. My colleague Anand Narasimhan is joining you on the other side.
All right. I want to move on to another piece of breaking news that's just coming through. We're given to understand that a former Lashkar-e-Taiba operative and in aid of the Lashkar-e-Taiba founder Hafiz Saeed has exposed the outfit. He says that many youths motivated by Hafiz Saeed's speeches and then joined the Lashkar-e-Taiba subsequently traveled to Afghanistan as well as to Kashmir in India. Approximately 500 individuals from across the country traveled to Afghanistan to undergo training at a camp named Maskar Taiba that's located in Kunar province. He says Hafiz Saeed is also responsible for the deaths of thousands of Pakistanis by sending them in a war of ashes to achieve the state's political goals. This is something that Noor Dari, that's the name of the individual. He's a former Lashkar operative. Tejinder has more details on this. Tejinder, read the tea leaves for us. What does this necessarily mean?
See, Zaka, this Noor Dari right now is the executive director for ITCT, which is an international think tank that exposes Islamist terrorists. He says that his mother wanted him to become a doctor, but he like thousands of Pakistanis were motivated by the speeches given by the LET founder Hafiz Saeed. He says that he was appointed as the aide of Hafiz Saeed. He used to guard him in the Murtikai camp where he was deputed, and he says that Hafiz Saeed was traveling in a blue Toyota Wigo pickup Datsun. So Hafiz Saeed is responsible as per Hafiz Saeed is responsible for the death of thousands of Pakistani youth whom they motivate through his lectures. They join his terror outfit. They are sent to Afghanistan. They are sent to Kashmir, and they become cannon fodder for the so-called war which Hafiz Saeed and other terrorists are fighting. He says that there are millions of Pakistanis and who have been motivated by the speech of Hafiz Saeed, and they have joined the terror cult of LET. He says that he took a decision finally because he saw that this will get him nothing, so he left LET, and he was made fun by the other LET members, saying that he was coward, that is why he was leaving it, but he realized that Hafiz Saeed would lead them to nowhere. So finally, he right now in UK, settled there, and is working with one of the international think tanks as an executive director. So this person has exposed Hafiz Saeed and how this terror factory is radicalizing the youth of Pakistan, the youth who could have taken a pen, who could have taken a stethoscope to become a doctor or an engineer, but Hafiz Saeed and his ilk is making these people the cannon fodder for their so-called jihad, training them in several terror training camps across Pakistan, in borders with Afghanistan, and then sending them to fight and get killed in Kashmir. He says that thousands of Pakistani youth who are trained by Hafiz Saeed are sent across into Jammu and Kashmir to fight this so-called war, and 90% of them never return. They get killed by the Indian Armed Forces. So clearly exposing Hafiz Saeed and his terror factory. Yes, Zaka.
Jinder, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. So that's a former operative of the Lashkar-e-Taiba exposing the founder and the chief architect of one of the most dreaded terror organizations, an organization that's wanted for numerous terror attacks here in India. His headquarters, of course, was bombed in Operation Sindoor a couple of days ago. Meanwhile, let's bring you up to speed with where things are as of right now. In the last 24 hours, Pakistan has made multiple attempts to breach India's air defense systems, but the good news is India's air defense has prevailed against Pakistani missiles and drones. The army has managed to neutralize the air defense system in Lahore after Pakistan attempted to engage a number of military targets in northern as well as western India. When Pakistan made failed attempts to send a swarm of drones across at least half a dozen, if not a dozen places along the line of control and the international border, over 40 to 50 drones, and this is what the Indian Army statement said earlier today, over 40 to 50 drones were successfully neutralized in a 3-4 hour period from about 8:30 in the evening yesterday all the way up to about midnight. The engagement involved extensive use of the L-70 guns, the Zu-23 Shilkas, and of course other advanced counter-UAS equipment, including of course the S-400s and the indigenously built Akash surface-to-air missiles. It also showed the Army's capability to counter these aerial threats. So what are these weapon systems, these air defense systems which were activated yesterday and managed to avert what could have been a big sort of barrage of attacks by the enemy on Indian soil? The L-70, it's developed by Bofors, it's produced under the license here in India. It's a 40mm gun, modernized with radars, electro-optical sensors, and also auto-tracking systems. It can fire anywhere between 250 to 300 rounds per minute. It's got a range of up to 4,000 meters, about 4 kilometers or so. The L-70 excels in anti-drone warfare, saturating the sky with predictive fire, making it effective against a swarm of drones and also trying to evade the tracking of these aerial systems. So that's the L-70. It's a short-range gun. Then you have the Shilka, which is a self-propelled system, self-propelled gun. It's got 4 23mm autocannons that are guided by radar-detecting targets, and it can detect targets up to 20 kilometers away. So that's again a short-range weapon. It can unleash about 4,000 rounds per minute, and it's been upgraded with proximity fuse ammunition as well as advanced fire control systems to tackle drones that are becoming smaller and smaller. The Shilka's rapid fire and radar precision make it lethal for UAVs, helicopters, light armored vehicles. The Shilka's dense curtain of rounds offers a last resort protection for air bases, military convoys, sensitive installations, much of which are now currently under elevated levels of threat because of the ongoing.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and thank you for staying with us here at CNN News 18 as we are on our continuous rolling coverage. And here on the right stand, we continue to train the focus on Operation Sindoor, the post-Pahalgam massacre retribution exacted by Bharat, and Operation Sindoor continues because Pakistan has decided that Bharat's counter-terror strike will be retaliated or responded to by the Pakistan state and its military by targeting Bharatiya military installations. Now we are into the 9th of May, and this seems to be continuing because Pakistan does not want to get off ramp. They don't want to back off. They want to continue up the escalation ladder. That's what it looks like. How long is General Asim Munir going to be able to continue on this vein, and how long is his position itself tenable as Pak Army Chief? It's all a matter of time, but Bharat is well prepared. Even as we speak, the Tri-Services Chiefs, after a briefing at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, are just exiting the Prime Minister's residence after meeting PM Modi now in the national capital. Pak Army is resorting to ceasefire violations in Uri. So those are the pictures of the Tri-Services Chief exiting 7 Lok Kalyan Marg after their engagement with the Prime Minister and total debrief. We are given to understand that the army, the three wings of the armed forces, in fact all of them who are involved in defending our borders, have been given a free hand with respect to purchase and also emergency munitions and supplies, etc. They have been given direct leeway for the next 6 months, so they don't have to go through the bureaucratic red tape. That just frees the hands up of the forces. So Bharat is prepared for the long haul if Pakistan wants to push and continue to perhaps drag this entire war on terror. But on the other hand, can the Pakistanis really survive this, and can they really last? We'll get to that also. Meanwhile, Bharat's army is retaliating effectively along the LC. There have been losses for us. Civilian lives have been targeted. But Bharat, with video evidence that we've put out, is targeting only Pakistan military posts and their bunkers. Even as Pakistan bombed the Gurdwara in Jammu Kashmir's Poonch and attempted to strike Amritsar in Punjab, the Pakistani military lied about Bharat trying to hit Nankana Sahib Gurdwara in the Pak Punjab province. Another blatant lie by Pakistan and bid to spread misinformation has been exposed by none other than Vikram Misri himself during the third briefing just earlier in the evening. The larger question is Bharat's unity a big challenge for Pakistan, or was Pakistan trying to find an off-ramp by blaming Bharat for a communal act? How bigoted, how far gone, how vile and devious can the Pakistan military establishment be is evident from this, that they tried to bomb Amritsar, the Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple in Amritsar, and then they were trying to work out their Khalistani goons and their cronies sitting across on foreign land to try and turn it around as a narrative that the Indian Air Force and the Indian forces themselves bombed Amritsar. That failed because of our defense system. So then they turned around and said that Bharat is sending drones across towards Nankana Sahib. So this is how devious the enemy is, and this is the enemy whom we are fighting. They will not learn a lesson till they have been really, really punitively punished. And somewhere Bharat seems determined to do that if the Pakistanis don't back off and they don't start cooperating in this war against terror, especially that which is emanating from Pakistan's soil. So from Operation Sindoor, marking the valor of Bharat, to three key press briefings represented by Vikram Misri, Lieutenant Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, Bharat's unity has been at play, dismantling Pakistan's communal fake factory. Let's listen into what the Foreign Secretary said a short while ago.
Disinformation that is coming from Pakistan about India targeting the Nankana Sahib Gurdwara through a drone attack. This is again yet another blatant lie and part of Pakistan's disinformation campaign. As we saw in the Pahalgam attack, Pakistan is again trying desperately to impart a communal hue to the situation with an intention to create discord. Again, we are not surprised. India's steadfast unity in itself is a challenge to Pakistan.
Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, former GOC 15 Corps of the Northern Command Indian Army, is with us. We should have Tilak Devasharji, author and former member of the National Security Advisory Board, joining us. Tara Karta, former director NSCS, should also be joining us. But Ambassador Rajiv Dogra is already with us, former diplomat and Consul General to Karachi. My namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Let's start with this devious plot. General Dhillon, look at how vile the enemy is. They were trying to attack Harmandir Sahib after damaging the Punch Gurdwara, killing 4 Granthis there, injuring innocent civilians, including a young Sikh boy. And then they were trying to conduct a drone attack on Amritsar and pin it on the Indian forces. Ab wo fail ho gaya, then they are trying to spread canards that the Indian forces are trying to bomb Nankana Sahib.
Anand, good evening and good evening to your viewers and my fellow panelists. Pakistan can go to any extent and to prove their point or to drive their agenda. They can bomb any place of worship, and they have done it in the past, they have done it during this time also, and for them there are no qualms about it. You remember the Lal Masjid incident during Musharraf's time?
Ji.
So they have no holds barred policy as far as their agenda is concerned. Whereas India, we are a multicultural, multi-religious and very homogeneous society. We respect each faith, we respect each other's value system, and we are a different people.
Ji.
Like their chief was telling, Chief of Army Staff.
Ji.
No, he was telling some other context, but I am saying we are custodians of 5,000 years of civilization,
Ji.
where we have lived together like brothers and sisters, and we will continue to do so.
Ji.
Whereas Pakistan, I can believe anything as low as the bottom of the ocean. Expecting it from Pakistan is okay, because they can actually go down to those levels of lowliness. So I am not surprised at all. And their agenda, good thing it has been exposed, and good thing that through your channel, through this program, you are exposing it and making your viewers aware about it, so that tomorrow, unintentionally also, nobody should fall prey to the false propaganda, especially in the era of WhatsApp forward, unverified rumors. And for this also, I would request the audience or the viewers, do not believe anything which is not coming from the official handle. Do not pass on anything which you have not verified. You are only adding to the enemy's agenda of misinformation. So be responsible, be very critical. If someone has sent you something, question him or her. Do not just spread the rumors, because in a war like this, where narratives and agendas play a very important role, truth is the first casualty. And we are seeing it happening. You are giving one example, we can give 20 examples, where killing of civilians, killing of innocent civilians, killing of people on the basis of religion, all these things are happening and counterclaims are being made. So as a responsible country, as a responsible citizenry, we must do our duty towards the nation, towards our fellow citizens.
Sir, there is actually digital footprint of what they try to do. There is digital footprint. I'm going to check if any of our cameras can capture the laptop, this laptop here, because this is this person, Harjeet Singh, who's a Khalistani. His handle has now been withheld in India. But look what he has tweeted at 2:13 a.m. on the 8th of May 2025. He has tweeted, "Attention Sikhs, brace yourself. India might target Sikh Punjab city with missiles and pin the blame on Pakistan." So this is what he has tweeted. I hope it's visible now. Yeah. So this is what he has said. "Attention Sikhs." This is at 2:13 a.m. on the 8th of May. And this is he's sitting over in Canada, and he's pushing this tweet out. Now let's see. So this is the tweet. So this is what they said, and this is just around the time. Pakistan fires artillery fire and also sends across projectiles over Amritsar, and they are headed towards Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple.
Anand, all these things will happen during conflict or war. We should not take them too seriously, because this is the agenda as they are peddling it, and they will do anything. They will use any source or asset of theirs to fulfill and further their agenda. as Indians, we should be together. We should have faith in our government. We should have faith in our leadership. We should have faith in our defense forces. And we should have faith in the ethos and culture of our defense forces, which is above all these things. So I don't take these things seriously, and I request all the citizens also not to give too much bhav to these things, because these things are the start point of any rifts or any fissures, which may be created by the enemy. We need to be very clear. We as a nation, we as citizens of this great nation called India, we are together, and we will fail or will negate or will defeat these agendas.
Tilak Devashar ji, good evening. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra first, and then Tilak Devashar ji. Your thoughts on this treachery? How do we expose? This is wild. And also in Punch, they have killed Christian. They've bombed a church. They killed innocent Sikhs, Granthis. They bombed a Gurdwara. Christians are dead. They just don't care. They are attacking religious places and trying to give this entire thing a communal color. Even last evening on these drone attacks, when they have tried to mask themselves behind a civilian plane, they have allowed a plane from Dammam to fly over that airspace where they have deliberately tried to create trouble, hoping that one of our anti-aircraft missiles hits a civilian aircraft. This was also revealed by Vikram Misri. What kind of a nation is this, and what kind of a military is this, Tilak Devashar ji?
I agree with what General Dillon said. You cannot imagine the depths to which Pakistan has stooped in the past and can stoop in future. They have absolutely no morality. And for them, and also one other thing, I also get a sense that this is a sense of desperation. The more they do this, they show that they are getting desperate. They know they've got the wrong end of the stick. They are getting a thrashing from India. And so they will try and use these kind of cheap, low-level tactics to try and create a communal flare-up. I mean, trying to target the Harmandir Sahib or that Punch Gurdwara. I mean, how low life can you get? But must be expected from Pakistan that they will do this, they will do much more. So you have to be on your guard. You have to ensure that they are not successful. At the same time, we must also recognize that in terms of fake news, that in terms of spreading lies, they are far ahead of us. We have a sense of morality. We don't do these kinds of things, but they don't. So they will win the war of narratives, fake narratives. And I'm glad that the PIB has started fact-checking a lot of this, and it's coming out faster and faster after fact-checking whatever is being put out. So all of us need to be on our guard, need to be very careful, but accept the fact that Pakistan will stoop even lower as the days go by.
Right. Now, even as we speak, the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. So clearly there are hectic meetings that are going on in terms of deciding the next strategy, and also try and bring in a certain level of operational flexibility, fluidity and agility, if we may say, in terms of in a situation where Bharat is preparing for the long haul, and also, like they say, hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. So the assessment is continuously on. Let's quickly move on, and there is the other dimension that we want to bring for all our viewers. Now, even as a desperate Pakistan plays the communal card, Bharat has sent a very stern warning to Pakistan. The first warning is de-escalate or pay a heavy price. The second warning, give up on terror and give up the terror rakas. Now that's what the clear ask is. The first warning is de-escalate or pay a heavy price. The second one is focus on eliminating terror from its roots. So the warning is that if you don't help us, we will do it for you, and we will continue to do it. We are not going to relent. The third warning is targeted. Bharat has always targeted terror emanating from Pakistani soil, not military or civilian installations or facilities. So stop spreading lies. The fourth, the war preparedness is better on this side. We have superior tech, and the tech is indigenous. we can last and sustain this for far longer than you can afford to. The fifth warning, Pakistan ministers to stop creating hysteria, panic and stop spreading disinformation. That they are clueless is known to the world. That they are hopeless is known to their constituency, their voters, their people. And that the military is not even keeping them informed is evident by their bluster. The sixth warning, hand over the terror heads. Masood Azhar, Rauf Azhar, Hafiz Saeed, Tala Saeed. Hand them over. Till you hand them over, we are going to continue to come after these terror tanzeems and their akas. Warning number 7, stop proxy war, deal with domestic crisis. Stop trying to bleed Bharat with 1,000 cuts, otherwise we will just rip off the band-aid of you forever and it will be very, very surgical. Dismemberment. That's the warning that's going through. And who are the people who we want, the most wanted, and why do we want them? The Lashkar chief Hafiz Saeed, 1985-86, he founded Lashkar-e-Taiba, played a key role in the Lashkar ops and fundraising activities. Leader of the terror outfit Jamaat-ud-Dawa, front of the Lashkar, most wanted in India and the United States. Bharat seeks his extradition. Pakistan has said no bilateral treaty and that's why we won't bring him out. His son Tala Saeed is an active Lashkar member. 2005, sent Lashkar recruits to fight in various countries. 2006, oversaw management of terrorist camp. 2006, established the Lashkar office in Quetta, assisted Taliban ops in Afghanistan. 2008, mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Again 2008, labeled a specially designated US global terrorist by the United States. 2019 and 20, he was sentenced to 78 years in prison for terror financing by the Pakistanis because that's the only way they could keep him close but still at an arm's distance in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of the world to get out of that FATF grey listing. Jaish terror group chief Masood Azhar, radicalized in the Jamia Islamia Binori town in Karachi, influenced by the Harkatul Mujahideen, travelled to Afghanistan for arms training at the age of 21, linked to the 2001 parliament attack, designated global terrorist by the UN, orchestrated deadly Pulwama attacks in 2019. Jaish commander Abdul Rauf Asgar, Jaish chief Masood Azhar's brother, also known as Mufti Abdul Rauf Asgar, hardline cleric and jihadist, Jaish's supreme commander since 2007. 1999 orchestrated the IC-814 hijacking, 2001 linked to the parliament attack, 2002 linked to Daniel Pearl's murder, 2005 linked to Ayodhya temple attack, 2008 linked to Mumbai attacks, 2010 US designated him a global terrorist, 2016 involved in Pathankot airbase attack, 2019 involved in Pulwama attack, 2022 India moved to blacklist him by the UNSC and it's been blocked by China. Now, before we go back to our guests, you have to listen to this. It's a stunning confession from inside Pakistan. When confronted, a local boy confirms jihadis are trained here and that terror training was done here. He was referring to Muridke, the Markaz-e-Tayyaba, the Lashkar terror hub that turned into rubble in Operation Sindoor.
तो इन्होंने उन पर इल्ज़ाम लगाया कि ये सारे मिलकर ना हम पर हमला कर रहे हैं। तो उनको पता है यहाँ से ट्रेनिंगें होती हैं, यहाँ से सब कुछ होता है, वो जो मुजाहिद वगैरह तैयार होते हैं, तो उन्होंने इसको निशाना बना के रखा हुआ था। फिर उन्होंने ना बच्चों को छुट्टियाँ दे दी पहले कि कोई पता नहीं किसी टाइम भी वो हमला कर सकते हैं।
You heard that? I would like to play that out again. Viewers, listen to it carefully. He's saying उन्हें पता है यहाँ ट्रेनिंग होती है जिहादियों की. Listen to this.
तो इन्होंने उन पर इल्ज़ाम लगाया कि ये सारे मिलकर ना हम पर हमला कर रहे हैं। तो उनको पता है यहाँ से ट्रेनिंगें होती हैं, यहाँ से सब कुछ होता है, वो जो मुजाहिद वगैरह तैयार होते हैं, तो उन्होंने इसको निशाना बना के रखा हुआ था। फिर उन्होंने ना बच्चों को छुट्टियाँ दे दी पहले कि कोई पता नहीं किसी टाइम भी वो हमला कर सकते हैं।
उनको पता था यहाँ पे अटैक करेंगे क्योंकि उनको पता है कि यहाँ पर मुजाहिदों की ट्रेनिंग होती है। This is a young boy who's got an injury in his hand. He is talking to a local media person there and this is what he's saying. Markaz-e-Tayyaba, Muridke, that was struck by Bharat's missile strike under the radar for terrorist activities. It's the alma mater of the Lashkar. Arms and training facility, radicalization and indoctrination acts are conducted. Osama financed 10 million for this place. They are spread over 100 acres. 2611 attacker Ajmal Amir Kasab got intel training here. 2611 plotters David Coleman Heddy, Tahavur Rana visited this facility. Siddhant Mishra now joins us. He is the one who's accessed this footage. This boy is so nonchalantly saying, उन्हें पता है यहाँ strike करेंगे. इनको भी पता था वो strike करेंगे क्योंकि उन्हें पता है कि यहाँ पर मुजाहिदों को ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, इसीलिए बच्चों को उस दिन छुट्टी दे दी थी.
Correct, Anand. And there is a reason that we are doing story on this video, Anand, because what Pakistan is doing, or perhaps have been doing from a very long time, that they take international press, international journalists to these sites, and when they take them, they show that look, it is just a religious site, there is no terror camp going on, etc., etc. They try to cover up the reality of these markers, situated in POJK and POK. So this is the first-hand confession, Anand. He is a local journalist. Perhaps he is taking some vox pops of the local boys. Perhaps what do they know about Markaz Taiba, and is it just a Markaz religious place, or it has some other significance as well? And perhaps this boy is confessing that mujahids and jihadists are trained here. Perhaps this is the first-hand confession, Anand, and this boy is not affiliated to any ideology, or perhaps, he was told to say this. It is a very organic vox pop which this local journalist, perhaps we really don't know who this journalist is, but this local journalist is speaking to the boys, group of boys, and perhaps only wanted to know more about Markaz Taiba, since India has struck down this particular target. So why India has, chosen this particular site, what was the reason? So replying to this journalist, this boy very innocently went on to confess that mujahids and jihadists are trained here. Now this is a testimony, perhaps, which again exposes Pakistan, and this video is also for international journalists. Perhaps they keep on writing that the sites hit by India were the religious sites. Even Anand, the other day Foreign Secretary was also asked in the briefing that did you hit mosques, whether the religious sites were targeted. Perhaps that was asked to the Foreign Secretary on the basis of the reports which were filed by foreign journalists and foreign
for the
media.
Pakistanis
So
are masters.
For the sake of our viewers.
Yeah, what they do is they turn Markaz, which is a center, and it may have a mosque, so they turn Markaz into a mosque and say Markaz is equal to mosque. Markaz is a center, so that's because it's a center for training, it's a center, and it may have a place for prayer, and that place which is inside the center for prayer may be a mosque if it is, that's how. So it doesn't become, the whole place doesn't become a mosque. Mosque or otherwise, a jihadi is a jihadi. Correct. How does that change? And he is himself saying कि यहाँ पर मुजाहिदों को train करते हैं. Well, thanks for that, Siddhant. Thanks for that. Let's just go back to our guests. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, Tilak Devashar ji, and Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon. अभी और कितना प्रूफ दें सर, और कौन सा डॉसियर दें? खुद वहाँ खड़े होकर बोल रहे हैं यहाँ मुजाहिदों को ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra.
Well, couple of points, Anand. Let me start by saying that we need to be patient, because there are some voices already coming up from informed circles within India that why aren't we retaliating, why aren't we doing much more than Pakistanis are doing to us. I think I would draw and urge everyone to remember two things. Number one, Foreign Secretary's briefing on the first day itself, where he said we will not give any operational details, and that we are going to stick to bare facts and also be correct in our information, so that there is no finger pointing, as has never happened with India. The second is that the end point is going to be the Prime Minister's speech at Madhubani. He had made the objective very clear, so let's be patient. I'll urge your viewers and our countrymen to be patient and wait, because a lot may be happening that we are not aware of. The second thing is Pakistan's desperation. You've listed chapter and verse about what they have done, and General Dhillon and Tilak have also pointed it out. The fact is that they are playing a very dangerous game, allowing a civilian flight when drones and missiles are flying all over the place to go from one end of Pakistan to the other end means playing with fire and playing with death. And they would have blamed it conveniently on India.
Yeah.
So imagine the international outcry that India had shot down a civilian flight, knowing very well that there was a civilian flight going. So Pakistan is devious, uncaring for human life, and dangerous as an enemy. The third part is what you and other panelists have already elaborated upon. It shocks me that anyone in the senses could really try and attack Golden Temple with the idea of blaming it again on Indian forces. How low can a country get? So the entire thing goes back to General Munir's first statement to non-resident Pakistanis about Hindus.
Yeah.
So Pakistani army, Pakistani ISI is following that script just as the terrorists followed that script on 22nd April in Pahalgam. So I think we have to be very careful, but I am very confident that this time our forces are determined and our Prime Minister has laid down an objective which he seems to be determined to fulfill. And let's give India a chance.
Right. We've got more news coming through closer home now. Those are the people, locals in Muridke, accepting that Mujahids are trained at Markaz Taiba. But closer home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has met a group of armed forces veterans. And this happened just a short while ago. He's currently meeting with the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. He met the Tri-Services Chief before that. But before that, he's also met armed service veterans that include Air Force Chiefs, Army Chiefs, Navy Chiefs and other veterans who have extensively served the country. Let's go across to Aman to try and understand more. Aman, when did this meeting happen? Those are pictures there. This is a meeting of these are reference visuals. These are reference visuals. Yes, Aman, when did this meeting happen and how long did it last?
See, Anand, what we are told, it was an extensive meeting earlier today where the Prime Minister has met the various chiefs of the forces, the veterans who have served as the chiefs of the Air Force, the Army and the Navy, as well as some other veterans. He has discussed at length various contours of the present situation with Pakistan, because these are the veterans who have a battle-hardened experience, who have a first-hand experience of how to handle Pakistan. So the Prime Minister also wants a very, very detailed consensus, from various people sharing their experiences, what India should do next, because the kind of attacks, especially that we have seen last night, these 200 to 300 drones coming into Indian territory, though none of them could hit the target and our air defense system could shoot them down. But this is also a new warfare, and the Prime Minister trying to, discuss it with all the veterans and the former chiefs. And I think this is a part of that exercise. We saw in the earlier also today, the territorial army also being, told that they can also be inducted. So I think this is all a larger consensus exercise by the Prime Minister to get the experience of various people on board before India takes its next steps.
True, and then there are also a set of veterans who have said that they are willing to come back and offer their services in the service of the nation when Bharat is in a state of war against terror. And there is a nation that is ready to give state and military backing to terror and terrorists on their soil. Thank you for your inputs. Aman, just take this across to General KJS Dhillon. Your thoughts on the Prime Minister meeting the former service chiefs and perhaps the contours of this conversation, sir?
Anand, it's a very good step, and I won't say more than that because I was one of the veterans who attended this meeting.
I know that, sir. That is why I didn't directly ask you. I just wanted to understand. I wanted to understand from you what was the intent. If you could broadly share with our viewers, without going into the nitty-gritties of it. Yes, sir.
The group of veterans who met the Prime Minister, since I knew most of them, it was a very small group, very cohesive group of about 17 veterans. And I was calculating, combined together, they had more than 650 years of military experience.
Wow.
So Prime Minister was trying to encash on that material experience, as also trying to get the feedback based on various timelines in the past. So that, history repeats itself, and veterans gave some very wonderful ideas. The Prime Minister shared some very thoughtful things. Though I will speak only this much. unless Prime Minister's office releases some details. It was a very fruitful meeting, and I think probably first time in the history of India or independent India, such a thing has happened.
General
Prime
Saab,
Minister was very patient.
how long did this last, sir?
Prime Minister was very patient. He listened to everyone. There were multiple times also some veterans spoke, and he listened to everyone very patiently. It lasted, I think, more than about an hour and a half or maybe more. So, and just about 17 veterans. So it was something which I felt very good, because if your inputs are being taken and because of experience is being shared right at the top, it was something which was extraordinary. And he was so alive to the whole thing. Everything was listening very patiently. The staff was making notes. And I think, and Prime Minister also complimented everyone for very positive inputs. And I think I can say only this much.
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to request our team to list out what you just gave us a gist of. So, Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, who's part of the broadcast right now, confirming that he was part of this close group of people. So, there are a few points that he's listed out. And General Saab, you please correct me if I'm wrong. It was a close group of 17 veterans that included former service chiefs and others who have done phenomenal service to the country. The meeting lasted about 90 minutes. And the Prime Minister giving a patient listen to everybody. The intent was to understand the history, the past, in terms of the engagement with this current entity with whom we are in a face-off with, and perhaps suggestions. And you're saying that the Prime Minister listened to everyone very, very carefully. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And beyond that, I'm not going to press you for anything. The only thing I want to ask you one more question is, what is the overall understanding in your wisdom? Not what happened there, but in your wisdom, is this going to be a long drawn-out affair, or are the Pakistanis going to blink? Is General Munir going to perhaps be ousted? What is your reading of how this is playing out, sir? A lot of viewers would also want to understand this.
Now, this is not connected to the previous comment or the Prime Minister's meeting with the veterans. This is a separate question and a separate answer. As a military man, my reading is we are at that stage of conflict where next 2 nights are very crucial. The next 2 nights are very crucial either for escalation point of view or from stabilization point of view. So we have to wait and watch for the next 2 nights, especially the Pakistan's action. And the Pakistan's actions will be driven by their internal turmoil. The turmoil within the army, turmoil within the society, and the politicians not having much say in the say of things, in the doing of things. So my understanding is next 2 nights, Pakistan's actions one has to watch very carefully. Even today morning, there have been air raid alerts in places like Chandigarh and all, Ambala. So let's see what mischief this enemy is up to. And I would like to comment only after 48 hours, because it will be too premature to comment on an enemy like Pakistan who doesn't think through things.
Tilak ji, you agree with the assessment?
Yes, I just like to make 2 points. One, excellent initiative to meet with people with a combined experience of over 600 years.
650 years, that's what he said. 17
service chiefs,
17 veterans.
I would like to expand this if there is some system in government to even people from the diplomatic corps, from the foreign service, who have dealt with Pakistan, people from the intelligence community, who have dealt with Pakistan all their lives, and they could also provide very useful inputs at this stage on how to deal with an enemy like Pakistan.
We have 2 of them sitting on the panel tonight.
Yeah, so exactly. The other thing I want to say is, see, the government statement has been restrained, targeted only terror camps, avoided civilians, avoided the military installations. The questions I would like to ask and put on the table, we all agree that the head of the snake is the Pakistan army. You can kill 200, 300, 500 terrorists. It's not going to make a difference, because the incubator, the facilitator, the creator is the Pakistan army. So strategically, are we aiming in the right direction? Are we shooting in the right direction? If you don't tackle the source of where terrorism is coming from, You can achieve whatever you want this time. 2-3 years later, there will be another army chief who will want to burnish his credentials, will do the same thing. What then?
Ji.
So this is, I don't have answers, and I'm sure the government has better minds who are answering this question. But as a citizen now, ordinary citizen, I want to put this on the table that are we doing the right thing by not hitting out at certain locations of the army? I know there are consequences. I know the reactions, what will be. But if we want to hurt every 2-3 years by terrorist action and by our innocent people being killed and their blood being spilled, just by going only after the terror factories, are we doing the right thing?
All right. Well, no, you make a very fair point. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, your perspective. We've got more news. I'll go to General Dhillon with the developments after your comment. Ji, sir.
Well, couple of things. Number one, it's a fight that General Munir has initiated, and at the moment, in Pakistani public perception, I think he has been humiliated. He has been humiliated when we targeted those 9 terror camps, and our drones and missiles went through unchecked. So he has to do something dramatic, which he hasn't been able to do so far. And that is why the desperation shows, as you pointed out, on possible attack on Golden Temple and so on. My fear is that the terror is still not ruled out as an option by Pakistan. It could be that there is another terror attack somewhere, not just in Jammu and Kashmir, but it could be in Punjab or anywhere else in India. They have suspected sleeper cells also. So that is point one. The second is, if they are so uncaring about lives in an aircraft flying through their territory, what else can they do? And they have tried everything. The international community has virtually boycotted them, not believed their version of what is happening. Within Pakistan, there are voices being raised. So what should we do in anticipation as a short-term and long-term measure? I think the answer to both is that please stick with Indus Water's suspension. That is going to hurt Pakistan, its economy and its people, and they will rise up against the army. They will start asking questions that it was because of you that this is happening, we are starving, we are in a famine situation. So that is the long-term solution. Yes, of course, as you know, the nation anticipates that there will be a hard hit against the Pakistan army at some stage.
Okay, we've just got more news coming through. Pak Army has resorted to unprovoked ceasefire violation in Digwar, Karmada sectors of Punch. Heavy firing is currently underway. Indian Army is retaliating very, very effectively. Jammu and Kashmir district Kupwara artillery shells are sounding again in the Karna sector. General Dhillon, you know that terrain very well. So let me ask you this. Earlier in the day, we had inputs that perhaps Pakistan is desperately trying to push infiltrators, and that's why the guns are blazing there. Is that true? Is that perhaps the reason why? Or is there another aspect to why these regions, Digwar, Karna, Karmada, Punch, and these areas, Uri?
See, these are the areas which are infiltration prone because the LC is very thickly vegetated. And there are a lot of uneven grounds. And Pakistan, terrorists are Pakistan's force multiplier even during a conventional war. The 2.5 front which General Rawat used to refer to. So Pakistan is probably now trying to push in this terrorist because he probably wants to, engage the Indian Army on the logistics lines of communication. And we had information where BSF had intercepted an infantry column. So this is the tactics. And the point which was made earlier by the co-panelist, I will make a statement and then I will amplify it. Intentions can change overnight. Capabilities take decades to build. So India should concentrate on decimating the capabilities of war fighting of Pakistan. Because if we do not decimate his air defense, we do not decimate his missile system or do not decimate his military assets, like co-panelists were saying, tomorrow there will be another Hafiz Saeed, tomorrow there will be another Masood Azhar. The names will change. Tomorrow there will be another Asim Munir. But another Asim Munir, another Hafiz Saeed will be not able to do anything if Pakistan will be exposed and naked without the military capabilities. And they would know when India hits back, they will not have anything to protect their military and other assets. So I'll repeat it, capabilities take decades to build, intentions can change overnight. Today, he will walk out of this situation by saying, okay, no, I will not do it again. But if his military hardware is intact, he will do it again with the names changed in a different time frame from today after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So if his military capability is decimated, then he will think twice. And let me inform the viewers, today's military hardware is not cheap. It's very, very expensive, and Pakistan's economy of single-digit billion reserves of foreign exchange cannot afford to rebuild that capability.
Sir, अभी वो Saudi deputy foreign minister गए हैं वहाँ. If he says कि हमारे $9 billion तुम वापस दे दो, don't touch it, फिर तो गिर जाएगी वो पूरी तो वही गिर जाएंगे पूरा. Because they can't even touch it. वो तो गारंटी है कि किसी तरह से वहाँ रखा हुआ है. But if the Saudis say ये पैसे वापस दे दो, इनका तो बैंड बज गया वहीं. They can't do anything. But there's more. Since you talked about ammunition capability and how much they have in terms of ability, CNN News 18's mega exclusive. Now linking directly here, Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these details. Pakistan has actually sold ammunition to Ukraine and or Russia earlier, and this is true. And it is currently facing ammunition shortage. Banduk hai, goli nahi. Tank hai, gola nahi. That's the thing. Gun hai, gola nahi. That's their problem. This shortage will hinder its ability to sustain a prolonged war. In 2022 and 23, Pakistan had indirectly supplied artillery shells to Ukraine via third parties, US and the Eastern European states. These claims from Pakistan's large stockpiles of Soviet caliber ammunition was compatible with Ukrainian systems. Later, Pakistan claimed that it has a history of arms exports. Now, later reports came that Pakistan's deepening ties with China, which is a key Russia partner, and its reliance on Russian energy imports forced Pakistan to also send them some of this ammunition, that is to the Russians. Top defense sources say Pakistan has a sizable domestic defense industry producing small arms, artillery shells and tanks, but its capacity is limited compared to global powers like China, India or the US. Pakistan has economic instability like debt crisis, inflation that is going to strain its ability to modernize or stockpile advanced systems. Pak can sustain limited artillery war with Bharat for some time and across a range of 500 to 600 kilometers. So that is on the LC and perhaps a little bit on the border. But it will be difficult for it to hold on to the entire full border length. They can't do it. Pakistan relies on China for high-tech weaponry, JF-17 jets, missiles and Turkey for drones. Sanctions, risks like FATF grey listing and budget constraints limit its access to Western systems. Now, while Pakistan's military is battle-hardened, like because of insurgency operations, etc., and prolonged conventional war with Bharat, is going to actually strain its resources. They can't last that long. That's their problem. Pak economy, already dependent on IMF bailouts, lacks the industrial depth to sustain a high-intensity conflict. Pak military can only sustain limited skirmishes like LOC exchanges due to stockpiles and Chinese support, but a full-scale war would quickly deplete its resources. Many believe 4 से 6 दिन of intense warfare, उससे ज़्यादा वो नहीं कर सकते. Right, wrong, General Dhillon. Harsh Shinglaji is joining us. He seems to be on the move. Harsh Shinglaji, good evening. Just getting a quick comment from General Dhillon on an input on Pakistan's ammunition ability. And then I'll come to you, sir, on the diplomatic offensive. Sure. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra is also with us. Yes, General Dhillon.
Anand, this whole thing which you just narrated and explained so nicely is called war-fighting stamina of a country.
Ji.
When two countries are face-to-face, and then this war-fighting stamina is compared vis-a-vis the other country. In our case, our war-fighting stamina is much, much higher than the Pakistanis. For 2-3 reasons. One is we are a mightier military, we are bigger economic power, and we have the military industrial base which is domestic much better than Pakistanis. As also our relations with our suppliers are much better than with Pakistan. We have multiple countries who can supply to us, and we have the money even to buy it during the conflict. Whereas Pakistan supplies are limited to Turkey and China, and he does not have the money to buy those things which are very expensive when the hostilities are going on. So war fighting stamina, I agree with you, is very low in case of Pakistan, and if the war or the conflict continues for a longer duration with a higher intensity, it is advantage India.
Harsh Shingla ji, your thoughts, sir? And also, what is the diplomatic posture? What is your reading? Based on what Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has said, Vinay Kawatra ji has said, Vikram Doraiswamy is saying, what is the posture? Is it the effort or a slow calibration towards hyphenating Pakistan with terror state?
Well, as far as we are concerned, we have always made it clear that our response has been calibrated and precise and responsible. I believe Foreign Secretary today also said that we will not, escalate if there is no further escalation from the Pakistani side. So, in a certain sense, we have also made it clear that we have no desire to take this conflict forward. We have achieved our aim of targeting terrorists and terrorist infrastructures, particularly those who are responsible and behind the Pahalgam incident attack. So from that perspective, I think we are fairly clear that while we don't want an escalation, we are prepared for any situation. I think General Dhillon was very correct in saying that the longer it goes, it gives us a greater advantage. So from that perspective, we have more staying power, and I think it's not in Pakistan's interest to take this forward. But then nothing has been in their interest, right from the from the initiation of the terrorist attack to their responses to our very targeted strikes on terrorist infrastructure. Nothing has been very logical from their side. So we don't know what's in store and how we will take this forward. But certainly the hyphenation between Pakistan and terrorism is a very strong one, and I think that has been the rationale also for our holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. We have said that unless Pakistan takes a very, very considered decision to stop using terror as an instrument, not to stop supporting terror, we will have to hold back on some of the earlier let's say arrangements that we had with them.
But is there a calibration beyond just looking at the kinetics? If Pakistan backs off on the kinetic engagement, does that mean that Bharat takes the foot off or the pedal off the non-kinetic offensive, or does that continue? And diplomatically, where do you see the gradient moving?
Certainly not. I think diplomatically we will continue to put pressure, not just diplomatically but economically, and in any other way, wherever there is leverage, we will certainly put pressure on Pakistan. I don't think there is any intention or rationale to take our foot off the pedal. I think it's very important that until and unless Pakistan abjures terrorism, as I said, as an instrument of its policy, actually starts dealing with terrorists and their infrastructure within that country, we will not be able to, I think, stop on I would say, in many senses, keeping Pakistan under pressure. Whether it is the F8, whether trying to get Pakistan back on the grey list of the FATF, denying it the 25th IMF bailout, trying to keep it under pressure in the United Nations, other multilateral institutions, and of course, I would say in any other manner that is available to us, including use of the Indus waters, we should definitely keep them under continued pressure. But the kinetic aspect of it is what we are talking about, and that's something that we have to, see how that.
But diplomacy goes beyond the kinetics, and so that's why I'm asking you 2 points. And after you, I'll request Ambassador Rajiv Dogra and Tilak Devasharji also to weigh in. The one aspect is the Pakistan state machinery working overtime to get TRF out of the UNSC statement. One. And the entire recalibration drama that happened. The other one is the jihadi leading a jihadi's funeral, which was accorded state funeral, and the military and the polity standing behind this jihadi. How have we failed to leverage these two diplomatically, these two aspects, sir?
No, I think we have, it's been amply sort of, brought out that TRF has been one of the organization that claimed responsibility. They removed it later. This is an organization, the Popular Front, which is linked to Lashkar-e-Toiba very clearly. And that is why our targeting was specifically on the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Toiba, as well as, the Jaish-e-Mohammed. But the LET is, and Masood Azhar is on the UN, Security Council's list. We had got him listed, when Trump was in his first term. It was a coordinated effort between the US, ourselves, and some other partners. And despite, efforts from Pakistan and China to keep them out, and I think we have to keep that pressure up to ensure that this aspect of their involvement is not forgotten. I think the fact that Rauf Azhar was also killed in that strike, he is the person behind not only attacks within India, but also on the international community, including Wall Street Journal journalist Daniel Pearl, who was murdered by this man. So I think the fact that Pakistan has tried to take the TRF off the UN Security Council's press statement, in a certain sense, indicates that they are somewhat involved in it. I mean, why would you try to have an entity removed when you have nothing to do with it? That's one of those things that are there. This is normal in a press statement that you do name the entity responsible, which has claimed that they were responsible for that particular terrorist attack. And secondly, as you correctly pointed out, the presence of a number of other terrorist leaders who are involved with terrorist groups, as well as the state representatives, whether it's in the form of security forces or others who are part of that, not just there as security, but they're actually paying, their bereavement on that particular, incident is something which ties in the Pakistani state complicitly with the terrorists and terrorist infrastructure in that country. So there is no gap between what is happening in terms of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, and those behind it, and the deep state of Pakistan. And that's what we are dealing with in the current context.
Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, even as we speak, there is a blackout in Jaisalmer. Pakistani Asim Munir ne ego pe le liya hai. Bahawalpur is right across, so they are wanting to target Jaisalmer. Something there. Chupne do, but this is what they are doing. They are ready to go ahead and put everything at stake for a jihadi lot. And have we capitalized on this TRF aspect and also this, what we saw with Hafiz Abdul Rauf? Yes, sir.
Well, as far as capitalizing on it, I think I would use the term whether we've informed our public and international opinion about that funeral with the military honors and national flag draped on the coffins and the terrorists standing by. Foreign Secretary set the ball rolling by showing the photograph to everyone in his, I think, first briefing. Then our High Commissioner in London and our Ambassador in Washington showed it to their audience there. So you can't do anything more than that. But one thing which strikes me repeatedly is that we are thinking only in terms of the short term. That when will this war be over? We hope Pakistan has been taught a lesson and so on. I think we should worry about the lessons Pakistan teaches us day in and day out. And I'll start from 1993. I was telling a channel in the morning, one of the business channels, that look at Mumbai today and look at Mumbai pre-93. It was a happy city. Today, every shop